All right, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. And today we are actually I'm not in my normal studio. I'm in a studio of a friend of mine who's recently become a friend, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you've had me on, or allowing me to use your studio, I guess. And I'm going to be interviewing my new friend Josh. He has a YouTube channel, so please feel free to check out his channel. It is called The Life of Josh and Sarah, and thank you for taking this time to do this interview. I'm super grateful. You guys are being awfully generous, having us out to your house and eating your food, and we're grateful for that. So,
I wouldn't say too much. You didn't eat the food yet. You don't know if it's going to be good. So.
Well, I suspect that you know,
Good expectation.
Good expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your wife is former Amish, and I know the Amish cooking stuff, so it's more than likely it'll be good. But that leads us right into some of the things that I wanted to get into today. Is your story of how it was growing up, and then also covering. We'll get into hopefully your YouTube channel and how that became about, and how you got started on YouTube, and you've got a pretty decent following already, and so I'd love to cover all of those things if you're open to doing so. So if you don't mind, what I usually tell my guests is just start from whatever age you'd like to start, as young or old as, just give the people an idea of who you were as a kid, or how it was in your home growing up.
Well, first I was born. I mean, I'm not going any further back than that.
Yeah. Were you born at home, or were you born at the hospital?
I barely remember, but I know I was born at home.
Okay.
I know that because I didn't have a birth certificate until I was 20 years old.
No
So
way.
I was a nobody. See, we just went from birth to 20 right there. Quick, right?
It's pretty fast. But I have a lot of questions in between because.
But no, very strict. Swords of Trooper Amish, one of the strictest that there are. And I was in a family of 12. I always have to think, but I believe it was 12. I had one stillborn brother, and then I was right in the middle. So I had older siblings, younger siblings, older. And I would say I had a good childhood, good family. My parents are very respectful, and we still have somewhat of a relationship today, but not much. Then I was bullied by my brothers. We had a lot of fun. Then somehow I got picked on, and that sort of set me off on a different path.
Gotcha.
But then, probably 10 years old or so already, I would just feel like there's got to be something better. It's got like this just ain't for me. It was almost like I don't fit in this family, but yet it was my family.
Yeah.
But I think it was just there's something out there pulling me, like there's something more. And so 10, 12 years old, whatever, all the way up until 16, I think, is when I called my friend who had left, or a guy I knew that left the Amish, and he said, "Yeah, you really want to wait until you're 18 to leave." So I waited until I was 19, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I think what happened is I kind of got a little bit of hope again. When we turned 17 is when we're allowed to start dating in that community.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, maybe I'll find a girl and fall in love and settle down, and it'll all be okay. But that didn't happen, and I'm glad it didn't, to be honest, because, yeah. So, I mean, the whole birth certificate thing. So I left at 19. I left September 11, 2005. And then on New Year's Day the next year, 2006, I went back to my parents back home. And it was mainly because I didn't have a birth certificate. There was no record, nothing. And you don't go to it's not like I go to the health department and get one. There wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had given up hope. And I went back and I thought, well, maybe what would happen if I ended up being there long enough to get married, my parents would help me get that birth certificate to get married. It was my older sister didn't have one either.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But then after 3 days, I see my buddy drive past the house with his car. And I'm like, I'm gonna drive a car somehow. And so I just ran away again. So
Wow, so you were home for 3 days?
3 or 4 days. I came home I think it was a Sunday night with New Year's, and then Thursday it was January 6th when they celebrate. They call it Old Christmas,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and so the Amish use it like a Sunday, and so that night I left again,
Okay.
and never
So
went back.
so take me to the time when you left. Specifically, what was it like for you to leave? Like
hmm
do you remember specific details of when you left and what that was like within your family?
Yeah,
Because you planned it out, right? I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah,
how long did you plan it out? I mean, you call it when you were 16, but then did you
yeah. Oh, from 16 to 19, I kind of flip flopped on like, do I want to leave? Do I not? And
Okay.
then, but yeah, once it came to time to leave, because I had a friend that left. I had two of my cousins left. There was quite a
Mm,
few people that left in that community that year, and so it kind of helped me sort of give me the courage or push me.
yeah.
But I remember I had, I think, 2 weeks that I knew for sure which day I was going to leave, because there was
Oh, okay.
I called my buddy to line up a job and a place, a place for me to stay. And so somebody else had been living there, so I had to wait for him to move out and move somewhere else so I could basically take his place and his job. And so it was, I don't know, I almost said intense, but it kind of was like this. You got this dark secret that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be out of here in a couple weeks. And in a way, it was also good, I guess, because it gave me the chance to really kind of soak it in and enjoy the moments and think about it. But I remember the last day down to it, I was out working the field with the horses, and there's called a tone 8 would be some kind of dirt,
Drag,
yeah,
right?
drag
Yeah.
or a hoe, I think you'd call it.
Oh, yeah.
Tiller
Yeah.
thing with horses. But yeah, so I'm just out all day long, or walking behind this thing, working the field, and that gave me a lot of time to think. And
Yeah, lots and lots of time to think.
yeah, and
Man.
I didn't talk myself out of it. And I mean, you left too. I don't know how you
Yeah.
left, but it's something that I'm glad I left. I'm not Amish anymore, or that left that lifestyle, but yet, like, it's hard on your parents.
Yeah.
And I regret that. I wish that there was a way that you could just tell them, look, I don't want to live this life anymore. Can we come to an agreement where I can go try a different life? But
Yeah.
I, I'm pretty sure they probably wouldn't have locked me up, but I'm pretty sure they would have sent me off to what they call a counseling place, and I call it brainwashing place. And because there's
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because I ask pretty much everybody that I've interviewed that has left the Amish. I asked
hmm
a very similar question, and most of them would say the same thing. So
Yeah,
it's interesting that you bring that up, but it I do feel the same way. I do feel like there is an answer on how for those kids to leave without putting the parents through everything
yeah,
that they go through currently. I don't know exactly what the answer is there, but
yeah,
there's got to be an answer for that. If your kid listening that's thinking about leaving, I mean,
yeah.
take that in consideration because I think when you're 18, 17, 18 years old, you don't really think about that a lot,
Right, you're right. Yeah,
because you're just thinking about getting out.
yeah. But honestly, well, it's like many things. Like, whatever the situation is, like, there's always a blame to go somewhere, or the root cause of something.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Because I want to say, well, it's kind of the parents' fault either because they don't build a good enough relationship with the kids
Yeah.
to make it where
Yeah.
kids like I want my kids to have a good enough relationship with me that they couldn't do that. They
Mm.
love me enough that they couldn't run away.
Yeah.
Then it's not really the parents' fault either because that's the culture they grow up in, where they
Yeah.
don't give a hug, they don't say thank you, they don't say I love you. I've never had any affirmation like that.
Mm.
So how do you build that connection? That's the only thing, and they could choose to do it, but that's the culture they live in.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to put the blame further up somewhere. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess for me, I could say is what if you just had the courage to say, you know what, I'm gonna stand up and say this is what I want to do, and let's sit here and talk about it for 6 hours if you want to, and but yeah, if you're gonna try to lock me up or like lock me in a room or something or send me off to counseling, then I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And try to leave in peace that way. But
Yeah.
that's that's not. I mean, people that leave to there's other cults or
Yeah.
culture, whichever. Like some of the radical Muslim cultures out there like that too. You leave that culture, that religion. I mean, someone will kill you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not just the Amish. The Amish won't kill you, but there's people out there that can relate to it.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm
Absolutely.
saying. Yeah.
So you left at 19. What was it like when when that ride showed up? Did you leave in the evening,
Yeah.
or you left in the evening on a
Yeah.
weekend or during the week?
It was on a Saturday night. Yeah.
On a
Yeah.
Saturday?
After dark. So I
Okay.
just sneak out the window, I leave a note. I left a note in the mailbox.
So you snuck out
So,
the window?
yeah.
You crawled
Down
a
over the roof and
two-story house and you crawled
yeah.
down over the roof?
No, we've done it many times. We could go out through one window on a flat roof and
Uh-huh.
then go into another window that went in what they call the wash house.
Uh-huh.
That's where they did all the laundry and stuff. And then you could go just down. Like we didn't have to go down the trees or stuff like other people did. We had it easy sneaking out. Yeah.
So that was a normal occurrence where people use that to sneak out and go party in
Oh
your
yeah.
place.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
normal for
Yeah. So you left. Did your brothers know about it? Nobody knew in the house.
I didn't tell anybody in the family.
Wow. Had you
Yeah.
had any other siblings leave before that?
Not before that, no. My oldest sister left since that a couple years after she and her husband and most of his family left.
Okay.
But no, I was the first one in our family.
Man, that's wild. Out of 12? Like that takes
Yeah.
some serious courage. I
Yeah.
mean, at least I was like number 8 or something. I mean,
Really?
I was
Wow.
I was way down the list. In fact, I was the last one to leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
because everybody else left, and I felt
Right.
bad for
Yeah.
my parents, so I stick around home as long as I can.
Oh, yeah. That happens sometimes. People feel
Yeah.
like they need to go back and that kind of stuff.
I was miserable though. Like I did
Yeah.
not want to, but ever since I was 12, I didn't want to be Amish. But
Hmm.
um, so you left that evening. Somebody picked you up out by the road, or
He
they?
picked me up about a mile down the road.
Okay.
There was a lady that had she lived about a mile away that we knew we could go fish at her pond, and so I had used her phone and before to call him. I'd
Oh,
ask her
okay.
to, if I could use her phone out in the garage, and so I would
Yeah.
go over there and call my buddy, and then I think it was right there somewhere he picked me up. Yeah, so we had a specific time, and so I put my note out in the mailbox, and I walked down the road, and he
Wow.
there comes the car, get in, and yeah, it's an adrenaline, it's crazy, and then we go to his house, change my clothes, get a haircut. If we had long hair, like my hair would come down to here,
Uh-huh.
and then over, and then down, and then they had to cover the ears, and then so they go
Oh,
straight
wow.
around.
So you guys were super
Yeah,
strict.
there's no like up in the front.
Yeah.
That my hair had to cover my ear. So got a haircut, and went to party and got drunk. So
That same night?
that same night, yep.
No way.
That man, that was wild.
Was that what you thought it would be? Like, this is it? Like,
Kinda, yeah.
this
Yeah.
is, I'm gonna go party. Was it an Amish party or
No, it was
a
just
non-Amish party?
yeah, neighbors to them. There was, I think, 3 former Amish guys living together
Gotcha.
at that time. But
So was that kid that picked you up, he was
yeah,
ex-Amish? He was ex-Amish
yeah,
kid?
yeah. He's John Yoder. He's still friend today.
Okay.
Yeah. The second time I left, and went back,
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a way to get a hold of him, and it was odd of like the decision was made like that, you know. And so I walked. It's weird. Like I almost don't remember. It's almost like it didn't happen, but yet I know it did. Because I remember going about 2 miles or so. I was going to go to somebody's house that I knew and use their phone to call them, but they weren't at home. And so I ended up walking. It had to been 6 to 7 miles, 5 to 7,
Jeez.
probably around. It had to be about 6 miles that I walked, and that's where I'm thinking now. Like, did this really happen?
Yeah.
I know it did, but
Because you're sitting there today.
and like, but there were no Amish buckies on the road, or nobody was like, "Hey,
Mm,
do you need a ride?" Or like, I'm walking 6 miles throughout the community, and I don't remember interacting with anyone, seeing anyone, anything. So
yeah.
that's the part where it's almost like it just like I wasn't thinking or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I do remember after getting out on the road for a little bit, I remember thinking, and I hope my brothers don't ever see this. They're Amish, they probably won't. But I remember thinking if they would just come after me with the bucky and say, "We love you. Please come home. We want you to be part of the family and just, take care of you, whatever." I would have got on that buggy so happy and went home.
Wow.
I remember thinking that, like, if they could just come and tell me they want me there,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm afraid I wouldn't be sitting here now.
Yeah. That's
But
wild.
yeah,
So you feel like at an early age, you mentioned your brothers uh bullying you at an early age.
yeah,
Like you feel like, I mean, in every family there is that, it seems like there's that kid
yeah,
in the family, right?
yeah. I was that
I
kid.
mean, it's crazy to think that that is actually a thing,
Yeah,
but you were that kid, kind of the middle of the pack,
yeah,
and the one that got picked on.
yeah.
I tell my brothers now, I say, "Look, I'm the one with the microphone. I get to tell the whole world now what you guys did."
Uh huh. There you go. That's why we got the
But
microphone.
no, no, they weren't super bad. I mean,
Yeah,
they they definitely picked on me, but
yeah,
we had a lot of fun together as well.
yeah.
But I have a great relationship with my brothers now.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, I have a gift laying over there. That's for you.
Are you
Yeah,
serious? What?
but I'm gonna wait until like the end of the episode,
Okay.
so people don't want to see the gift. They have to watch the whole episode, and then we'll open
Well,
that.
yeah, you're
So,
definitely gonna want to stick around because it's only gonna get more interesting. I am so when I first came across your channel, I was just like mind blown because when I decided to get into the podcast space, I really
mhm.
had no idea what I was getting into. I mean, I had no clue because
Yeah,
I'm not super tech savvy, and
right.
you're a lot more so, setting up these cameras and stuff. But
Better with a manure fork and a hammer than
yes, give
microphone.
me a hammer and I'll fix anything for you.
Yeah,
But yeah, anyway, so when I came across your channel, I was pretty mind blown just to see like that there's other people, and especially Sports and Trooper Amish. Like
yeah,
you don't really see that story of a Sports and Trooper
mhm,
stepping out in that way, and here you've done it. I mean, you stepped out, you put yourself
mhm.
out there. I think it's super inspirational for so many other people,
I appreciate that.
and I'm super thankful that, I mean, immediately you responded and we were able
Yeah,
to talk, so I'm grateful for that.
yeah.
But tell me, how did you go from you left? I want to know more about when you left and you started immediately you started partying.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to be the thing that most kids do when they leave, right?
Yeah, most of them do. Um, it was just that that's what they had planned for that night.
So you just kinda followed the crowd,
Yeah,
hanging out with your
yeah.
buddies.
And I like to make a point out of that for people that wanna help, those who leave the Amish because 'cause they're looking for something,
Yeah.
and what they need is Christ. They
Mm.
don't need a party, but they're gonna follow kinda what's out there, and, I wasn't really a party guy, and I wouldn't
Good.
say but it just, they were like, "Yeah, we're going to party tonight," so and the idea of going out and drinking beer just as much as you want without 'cause some of the Amish party a lot too. Like, my wife, where she's from, they drink a lot and party. Not
Mm.
like some do, but we didn't. I had one time I got drunk that I remember being Amish.
Are you
Yeah.
serious? Wow!
Is that like wow, as in not more than that?
Yeah, not more than that.
You're one of
Man,
those.
it's one of those.
Uh-huh.
Man, you would not I mean, you would have loved hanging out with me when I
Uh-huh.
was on
Party crazy.
Yeah, it was
Ugh.
wow. But I think that's the thing that also I'd like to just point out because most people I feel like the people that I run into that are not Amish, they see the Amish as they're aren't they all Christians?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and then we leave and like you were saying, they need Christ. What does that mean to you? Because weren't you a Christian when you were Amish?
I would say no. I'd say we were religious.
Mm.
We were just religious, and that's the difference between religion and Christian to me. I mean, I'm a Christian today, and somebody might say you're
Yeah.
religious. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with being told that or being labeled that way, but I hate religion, not because of that offends people too. Oh, anything offends people, but I see religion as it's always somebody at the top, people at top controlling the rest of the people.
Yeah.
And I want a relationship. We didn't have a relationship with God for sure. And
Good.
they didn't talk about it either. So it's all just, follow these rules and hopefully you'll get to heaven when you die by following these rules.
Wow.
It's all just a religion and to me that's not a Christian. A Christian's somebody who has a relationship with Christ and follows him and has fun at the
Yeah.
like that's the other thing with religion is, we would go to church on Sunday, you're not allowed to smile in church. You're not allowed to laugh. You're not allowed to like while you're in service, that's in service, I mean,
Yeah.
that you're not
Yeah.
allowed to smile, laugh, talk,
Yeah.
anything. Like sit there on your butt and me with no fat back there on my bones on a hard bench with no back for what 4 hours straight,
Yeah.
and you get one break where you go outside for about 10 minutes and you come back in. No,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you. You
yeah.
know,
You're getting your military training early.
I guess so. So I think that conversation got hijacked, but yeah,
So so that what does it mean for you to have a relationship?
it's well, you know who God is, and man, I don't know how to answer that question,
Okay. But
but
yeah, I mean, you feel like you have a personal connection with God. Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah,
Like you have something that you would call like an intimate relationship that you maybe it's challenging for you to explain,
yeah,
but you just know that you have that relationship. Is that
yeah,
correct? Or
yeah.
yeah,
And
that
it's like, yeah, I have faith in God. I believe that He exists, but yet I would say I know. It's things like, okay, at one point my jaw starts hurting. It's like
Mhm.
a year ago. And just randomly, it's like a sore muscle. Like it's just my jaw hurts. And I can't figure out what it is, like what's going on. And then one morning at 4 a.m., I get up to use the bathroom and I get this very clear thought in my head. It's caffeine. Now, I know I can't drink a lot of caffeine. I know it does things
Mm.
to my body. It gives me the jitters. I get outbreaks. Like, I knew that, but I would have never thought that has to do with caffeine. But a thought like that, where does this come from? You're 3/4 sleeping at,
Yeah.
3:34 in the
Yeah.
morning, stumbling to the bathroom, almost falling down the stairs every time.
Yeah.
And this thing is as clear as can be. Well, I had been praying about it and, questioning what this is.
Wow. So there's
That's
your answer.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then years ago, we moved from Ohio to Colorado. There's just another story to go to Bible college.
Okay.
And I got this idea to go. And then one day on the way home from church, I just thought in my head. I didn't pray. I didn't say it out loud. I just said in my thoughts to God, if you want us to go to Colorado, me and my wife, then I need the word mountain as confirmation. So I said, no, he can do that. I
Mm.
just need confirmation that this is your will. So I did.
Yeah.
That night we go to a different church and my wife's up front praying afterwards. We're just doing worship and stuff. On the way home, she says, I don't know what this means, but when I was up praying, I felt like God says he has a perfect place for us in the mountains. And I still
Wow.
get chills today.
Yeah. I just got chills right
Yeah.
now. That's wild.
You can't make that stuff up.
Yeah.
And so we go out there. It's Charis Bible College. They're right by the Pikes Peak.
Get
We end up
out of here.
living in an apartment where you walk out the front porch and there's Pikes Peak right there. We're right at the foot of America's highest mountain.
Wow. My niece is at Karis right now.
Really?
Yes.
Nice. Nice.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
stuff like that where, and I don't like religion. I just think it's, I believe that you need to be born again
Mm. What does
because,
born again mean?
well, I've been thinking about that a lot lately and I'm going to try it in my version and we'll see what
Okay.
happens. But in a quick watered down way, I would say God created everything, including the devil. And then the devil rebelled against him and he decided he wants his own kingdom. So he gets kicked out of heaven because he wants to create his own kingdom. The 30 angels go with him. So now he goes to hell, where
Mm.
his home is now. And but he comes to Adam and Eve and deceives them, causing them to give up their legal right and their authority on earth and gave it to him. And we know that because he took Jesus out on a mountain and says, I will give you all these that have been given to me.
Mm.
He can't give it away if nobody gave it to him.
Wow. I never
So
thought about that.
yeah, so
Man.
now Satan claims legal rights and he owns essentially the earth and the people because Adam and Eve they're the first of mankind. It's like the maple tree out here. God didn't make this maple tree out here. It's a seed of the original maple tree going way back.
Yeah.
So now, and that's where I struggle with it because it seems so harsh, but it seems like when you're born into this world as a man or woman, especially a man, I'm not going to clean that up. Um, Satan's going to claim that you're his, and you
Yeah.
belong to his kingdom. So, in order to get your citizenship from kingdom of Satan to the kingdom of God, you must be born again.
Mm.
And so Jesus said, there's the born of flesh and blood. This Nicodemus was like, what are you talking about? Go back in my mother's womb and be born again? It's like,
Yeah.
no, there's that part, the physical, but then there's a spiritual birth.
Yeah.
And so the other way it'd be, if you're born in Mexico, if you die, guess what? They're going to send you back to Mexico because you're a citizen of Mexico.
Yeah.
But if you renew your citizenship to an American citizen, you get buried in America. So when you die, which kingdom do you belong to?
Wow.
And you can do all the good works you want all day long. It's not going to change your citizenship.
Okay.
Jesus paved the way. He died for our sins. And so God said, okay, you no longer have to work to get to heaven. It used to be that in the Old Testament, but now it's just accept him and renounce your citizenship to the devil and come to me.
Hmm.
That's
So how do people practically do that? Like how do I do that if I want to be if I want to renounce, I can renounce Satan, right? But if I want to become a follower of Jesus, how do I do that?
I think it starts with just believing that message.
Mm.
And because if you don't believe it, then you're not going to do it. And that's where we as Christians have to have patience too with people, because you can't just, well, you can, but you just walk up to them, hey, would you like to believe in Jesus? They need some
Yeah.
kind of evidence.
Yeah.
And
That's, by the way, that was a excellent
you think,
explanation. I think that's probably one of the best ones I've ever heard.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was hoping it makes
Yeah.
sense.
It makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. And it's simple, it's easy to understand, and I think that's also part of the fault of explaining what it means to be a Christ follower has
yeah,
been made so complicated for
yeah,
people to
and
understand.
yeah, and I blame
So,
religion for all that.
yeah.
They come in and
Mm.
people like, I don't want nothing to do with the church. Yeah, that's because they just and they don't, yeah, they read the Bible, but they just teach each other the same thing over and over. And they're not
Yeah.
open to, wait a minute, maybe this doesn't mean what I thought it means. Because it's all religious. And like
Yeah.
if I go and start talking to my dad about this stuff, he's gonna shut down really fast and block me out because he's taught that I'm deceived simply by not being Amish anymore.
Yeah.
And so he has to not only ignore me, he actually has to build a wall against me
Mm.
to make sure I don't deceive him too.
Yeah.
And so how is he going to be open to possibly being wrong? Because anyone who disagrees with him is already wrong in his mind.
Yeah. Wow. So so you go from partying to having a relationship with God.
Hmm.
Uh how do you get from there to where you feel like you have a relationship with God? Because
Yeah.
obviously you're hanging out with a group of people, and you said that what young people need that are leaving, they actually need Christ and they need
Yeah.
those examples. But
Yeah.
how did you find that example if all your buddies were out partying and they were
Hmm.
doing that kind of stuff?
Well, that would be people I work with. Jacob Yoder. I'll name some names. This guy
Okay,
that gave me a job and worked with, invited me to church. And it was a long process. It
gotcha.
wasn't like a quick light bulb moment. And then Sam Schwartz, another guy I worked for, and then he would do Bible studies for all the workers. And so it was just the people I worked for.
But these are guys that are not Amish,
No,
or
they're former Amish, but they left years before. So they're
gotcha.
like where we're at now, where
Okay.
they're doing their part to influence and help others and put us on the right track. And yeah, I just man, there's so many things to be thankful for. People that have changed my life and would question this, and then I mean, now I look back on more of it's just so simple to me because I would have talked about the devil. He wants you broke, poor, sick, miserable, divorced, broken, stress, anxiety, drugs. He wants all that for you. God wants you happy, joyful, peace,
Mm.
life. And so again, like the Bible says, don't be drunk with wine. It's
Yeah.
not like this religious command, like you cannot ever drink alcohol. Well, think about it. If you're drunk most of the time, how good's your life gonna be?
Yeah.
So do you want that or do you want peace?
Yeah.
I was like, it's so simple. Like we make it so complicated, but it's so simple. Everything is for a reason. And I think I just kind of got the hint because I was addicted to porn for 5 years.
Mm.
I was miserable. I was suicidal. I never did much drinking, but I hated myself. I had no confidence. Thought I was a loser. I thought I'd never amount to anything. I certainly didn't
Wow.
think I'd ever be interviewed on a podcast or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who I was.
Okay, so you went from you just went from like from all those things, like how did you get uh set free from like your porn addiction, if you don't mind
Yeah,
that?
that was it was partly God had to get involved and really
Okay.
show me that it's ruining my life because it was. It was before I was
Mm.
married, never had a girlfriend, so that's good parts.
So how old were you when you had a girlfriend? Your first girlfriend?
I met Sarah with my first girlfriend, my current wife. I
Wow.
dated a little bit, but not like actual girlfriend. But I think I was 25, I think. So I was
No
27 when
way.
we got married. Yeah.
So that's still possible,
Oh,
apparently.
yeah, it's normal nowadays. Yeah.
Well, not to have no girlfriend when
Oh,
you're 25.
yeah, that is possible. Well, it's not because I didn't want to. I was so shy I couldn't talk to girls.
Yeah,
You know,
gotcha.
I would girl comes along, I turn into a jelly ball.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know
lack
what to
of
say.
confidence, just not
Yeah,
being able to
yeah. And then
come
one
to
time, Wayne Green was my boss at that time. We're talking, and two things he said one time. He's like, there's someone at this company that believes in you. You know who it is? And I was like, Daniel? Adam? Is it Hot? I mean, these are cool guys, I said, no, it's me. Wow. You believe in me? I
Mm,
didn't say that. I thought. I was never told that.
yeah.
Like I said earlier, my dad never said I love you. I remember Lee was my manager. I remember when he pat me on the back one night. I was leaving work and he just kind of gave me a slap on the back like that and said, good job today. I can go back and tell you exact spot where that happened.
Wow.
Because I never felt affection from another man or
That
adult
is
or anything.
wild.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
this thing's just chopped up all over the place.
Well,
But
that's good.
the other thing he said is, he's like, why is it that when you see these biker guys out there with their Harleys,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to say anything negative about those guys, but he's just like, sometimes they're just not good looking guys. But yet they have these gorgeous women with them. Why do you think that is? I don't know. I never thought of that. It's because they have confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And the women are not attracted to him because of their looks or their bikes. It's because they're manly men and they're confident. And so when I met Sarah, my wife, I'm like, okay, no matter how timid and dumb I feel, I'm gonna act like a man, and I'm gonna trick her into marrying me, and it worked.
Oh, wow. So how old were you so you were 25 when you met with your
I think 20, 25, 26, somewhere right in
Okay.
that.
How did you meet your wife?
I had left 6 years before that already. She's 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
And then when she left, she and her brother left together, the Amish, and just with mutual friends that they were staying with, and so they asked me to go out to dinner with them. And it was a Mexican restaurant. I'm sitting in there, and she walks in the door, and I'm like, "It's hot for an Amish girl." And then we got married.
What's that supposed to mean?
I know. What is that supposed to mean? It's a beautiful Amish women. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that.
I know, it's funny. That's funny because most Amish women's beauty is never discovered because of the way they dress and the way they get treated. Really?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
because the beauty is not just the way a woman is. I feel like the outer beauty, that's one thing, but
Right.
like most Amish women are just they're told to sit down and shut up,
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean,
Yeah. But then, I mean, to be clear though, it's not just if they take their clothes off that makes them beautiful either. We're
no,
not saying that either,
no,
right? But you know what I think is back to religion. Like you said, is they're told to what did you say?
sit down and shut up.
Right, sit down and shut up,
Pretty
which
much.
means they have no confidence.
Yeah.
And so when they walk into a room, what the most sexiest thing I think about a woman is a confident woman.
Yeah. Well, any human being for that matter, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for yourself, like
Yeah.
for myself,
Yeah.
I mean, I went through that as well. I had a very similar experience with
Mhm.
my confidence and all that. But yeah, that's super interesting to me because then you met her at that restaurant.
Mhm.
So what gave you the nerve to like think that you could say anything to her about possibly going out?
I think by
At that
then
point.
I had a little more confidence, and
Okay.
I was driving semi over the road, and so I was on the home
Wow.
weekends. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know, it just I had more confidence. I mean, I knew I had to snatch her up too because if girls leave the Amish, there's always a bunch of guys waiting to marry her.
Mhm.
And then her brother was my roommate, and so that works perfect.
Oh,
So we
okay.
would constantly hang out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would just hang out, and I could tell that she likes me, and
Mm.
so we would, just talk all the time and hang out together. Because we would probably for almost no, maybe 6 months. I'm not that good with these dates and stuff.
Yeah.
That we just hang out. Like she'd come over to the house or we'd go out to eat or whatever with her brother and her. And finally, I asked her if she'd go on a date with me, or if we could date.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, let me think about it, and I'll give you an answer." I think if she said on 4th of July, she'll give me an answer. And I'm like, "Really? You gonna make me drive around out here for about a week, not knowing your answer?" But it told me that she's not just gonna say yes to anybody.
Yeah.
Like she wants to make it sure it's good. And so she'll go on a date or actually make it official. And we only kind of broke up like 2 times a little bit. Went through a couple rough patches.
Okay.
At one point, while we were working together, we would work together. Her brother, another older brother that had left too, we would work in his flooring shop, and we were dating. And then we kind of go through a little week of breakup, and we're still working together at the same place. So that was tough. That was hard.
Yeah. So touching back to, I mean, we kind of fast forward a little bit, but you brought up your porn addiction, and
Oh yes.
like how did you get free from that? Like, did you go through some kind of a program or
Counseling.
counseling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew once I figured out it's an addiction. That took me 5 years to figure out. I'm like, oh man, I'm one of those. I'm addicted. And
Mm.
so I thought, well, first I got a book that I seen advertised called How to Kill a Lion. And that's where I learned a lot about that. Okay, so the way I would summarize it, being bullied caused me a lot of emotional pain. And then when you have emotional pain, you need something to offset that.
Uh-huh.
And so that's either addiction, drink, alcohol, drugs. So when I see somebody, if I hear somebody's addicted, I will tell you, I pretty much guarantee you they were hurt.
Wow.
There's something that's bothering them.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that. And so I said, all right, well, then it's counseling. And I went and saw a counselor. It was a lady, and she wanted to put me on pills. And I didn't like that.
Mm.
After 10 minutes of talking to her, I realized that's not going to be my counselor. And then I went to a different one. This was a lady too. And she didn't say anything about pills. She was more like the natural way. Like, yeah, we got this.
Mm.
And 10 minutes after talking to her, I realized that's the one. Like, I want to talk to her. She can help me. And, yeah, I was broke, spent $800 on counseling. It's probably the best money I ever spent.
Wow.
And it was just working things through, talking about it. And I think the big thing was understanding why I was addicted. And I think that's what I believe many people should be set free. This is just my opinion. I'm not a counselor. I'll probably get hate for it. But I think what I would do today is ignore the addiction, ignore the problem, because that's what Satan wants. He wants you guilty and condemnation and contempt.
Yeah.
I would ignore that, and I would focus on growing myself and working my confidence. And just, I don't know, like, again, I don't want to just blame my brothers, but they bullied me to where that's why I felt like I'm worthless and I'm a nobody. And so I needed that to release this emotional pain and to sort of, something different, something to get my mind off me. And now if I can renew my mind by changing the way I think and what I listen to and what I watch and what I hear, then I can realize that, wait a minute, I don't need that porn. I don't need that alcohol, that drug, that drink, that working, whatever it is, sex. I don't need that to be happy just the way I am.
Yeah.
And it's a long process. It might take 5 years or 3 years or whatever. God can do it like that. Some people go that route. It's great. But yeah, just work on yourself. Work on growing yourself and the way you think. What we think, what we listen to, the friends we hang around with, all that stuff matters.
Yeah.
If you eat poison, you're gonna get sick. people are out there. A lot of people you're eating with their ears and their eyes. They're eating poison and wondering why they're sick emotionally.
Mm.
Change your diet,
Yeah.
your eyes and ears. Because what you
That's so
hear,
good.
you believe. What you believe, you put into action.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, and you have obviously got the credibility to say that because of the things that you've gone through. 8th grade
hmm
education, leaving home, not having a father and mother in your life, and look at
Yeah.
where you're at today. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a true testament to just taking charge of your own life, taking responsibility for the things that you've been dealt
Yeah.
and working on them, right? I mean, it's digging deep,
hmm
finding out who Josh is.
Yeah.
That's why I want to know more about you because like I'm fascinated by it. I've spent a lot of years not doing the things that I know I should be doing in order
We'll come to that part.
to
Trust me.
in order to eventually figure out like I just get to look at myself, I get to take a deep dive at who I am.
Yeah.
So what was there somebody that you had in your life? I mean, you mentioned workers and people that you work for that were
Mhm.
kind of nudging you in that direction. Anyone specific, mentor, somebody that you had that
Yeah. Later, maybe only about 6 years ago, I had a good friend, Eli Miller. I'd say I mean half.
okay.
He offered to mentor me, so he felt like that's something he should offer. And so we
Mm,
still to this day we meet up sometimes for lunch or something.
okay.
And he got me started on really growing myself, educating myself.
Okay.
Because this is fast forward to about 2017. I wasn't sure like where going to take my life, like what's next. After Bible college, moved back to Ohio and Colorado.
Hmm.
And so he said, well, just educate yourself and just start learning new things. And so then I started hauling storage sheds. And I realized pretty quick, like, oh, you can turn your truck into college. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
out there
Yeah.
driving for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to podcasts like the Amish Rebel
Yeah.
podcast, which didn't exist yet.
Well,
And
thank you for that plug. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Um, so, just for me, I wanted to learn about the stock market, investing. And so I just go on YouTube and I find videos and YouTube connects you to more and more.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of Patrick Bet David, that
Yeah.
you're a fan of, Myron Golden. It's kind of funny. We
Yes.
both listen to them. So I just listened to that stuff and what was the question again? Oh yeah, people. So yeah, and then but like Eli Miller, he's my mentor here in person.
Oh,
But
okay.
then someone like PBD and John Maxwell and Andrew Stanley, and then a lot of preachers like Andrew Womack and those. Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a really good one. And then Myron
Yeah.
Golden, huge fan. Just people like that. Like they're out there pouring their information out there. It's all public on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
Turn off the
Yeah.
stupid country music that says, "Oh, my wife left me for a horse," and listen to something that's gonna make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah,
That's so true.
I know.
Because I feel like it feeds that negative emotion, which then spirals your life into a
hmm
negative cycle,
Yeah.
which is just poor, pitiful me.
Yep. There's a song.
Yeah.
Poor, poor, pitiful me.
Yeah. But that's really good. I think it's so true. Like I had 7 years. You may not know this, but I had 7 years on the road of trucking as
Oh, really?
well. And I always
Wow.
say that was my college education
hmm
right there.
Yeah.
And I got paid for it. I didn't have any student loan debt at
Yes.
the end. I mean,
Yes.
it's pretty amazing actually if you
hmm
choose. And I see a lot of guys they would choose to talk to their friends. And at first I did too.
hmm
I said, how many times can I have the same conversation with my buddy and still want to have that conversation? Like, this is stupid. I need
Yeah.
something else to listen to. Like,
Yeah.
and so I just chose to like not make as many calls and listen to stuff.
Yeah.
So
Good
what
stuff.
what caused you? When did you guys? So you started dating at like 25? How long did you date before you got married?
I want to say we dated a year and a half.
Okay.
My wife can go in the comments and clean this stuff up.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Generalizing is good. What about when did you guys so date a year and a half? So 27-ish you got married? When you were
Yeah.
27?
Yeah, but I was 27. We got married March 14,
March 14th.
2015.
Okay.
Yeah, my birthday's March 10, so it was right after, so
So
probably turned
wait,
25.
how old are you?
Oh, don't go there. I decided,
Young.
I decided recently I'm going to forget my age. That's my goal, to where I get to
You
a
can,
point where I actually don't remember.
you need to record that because you're gonna live a long time
Yeah,
and we need those mile markers.
right.
So
I don't want to know. So literally, recently, people asked me, and I said, I'm 38, I think. And then my wife and my oldest son go, no, you're 37. I'm like, come on. I'm 30. No, you're 37.
What year
Like,
were you born?
87.
87. So you're
So,
36.
no. Well, I had a birthday in March.
Oh no, you'd be 37.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
was pretty happy when I heard
so
that.
38.
I'm 37.
Yeah, you're
Stop
37.
it.
Next year you'll be 38.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
At 40, I'm looking at the 40 number.
Hey,
I don't like it.
here's my thought, Josh. Maybe I
Okay.
can influence you in this
Okay.
area, but here's my thought. So everybody is so focused on the fact that they don't want to get older.
Hmm.
And I truly believe most people are so focused on that because they're not accomplishing what they want to accomplish along the way. So my
Yeah,
thought
that's true.
is if I'm doing what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing at the time that I turn whatever age,
Yeah.
then I feel satisfied and I'm okay with getting older. I'm
Yeah.
completely okay with it. Plus, getting
That's a good
old is a
point.
mindset. It's not a number.
Oh, I agree with that. That's why I want to forget the number, so I don't even act like I'm 25. Like,
Yeah,
the guys I like to hang out with are 25 or whatever. Sometimes
that's
like
awesome.
15, but not all the time.
That's great.
Yeah.
But you have two sons now, right?
Yep. 7 and 4
7 and 4,
years old. Yep.
and are you that's it for you, or you're not gonna have 12, or?
Mm. No, we're definitely not having 12. No, I think that's it. We've talked a lot about it, and we decided that two is just perfect little family
Yeah.
for us. So
Well, good for you guys.
yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
we're not gonna be sleeping together ever again. So it's,
No more.
it's like, can you say that on video? Some people think you're not allowed to talk about sex either. I'm like, it's part of life. Talk about it.
Well, I don't know how much you've seen our channel, but the highest viewed video is about sex,
I did see that. You're talking about,
which is
yeah.
okay. Where are the people's minds at on YouTube? I mean, seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we're having the conversation that most people are probably searching,
Right.
but it worked.
But
And
it's something that, here's something that I felt God gave me a clear picture about, because I know in the Amish there's a lot of sex abuse and stuff.
yeah,
And what I realized is, okay, what I felt like he said is that any topic that the church or you or the parents or whoever chooses to not expose and talk about, but hide it. Like, so the Amish example, they're taking sex and they're saying, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to teach our
yeah,
kids about it.
yeah.
That's embarrassing. So we're going to move it over here. And guess what they did? They just moved it from the light into the darkness, right in Satan's hands. And now Satan has full control over it.
So
And he's
true.
using it.
Can't agree with you more.
Yeah. So you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
People need to know.
I think that's why it's so important to talk about the trauma or the things that we go through is because like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If we don't talk about it,
Yeah.
it still exists.
I know exactly.
It still exists. It's not gonna go away just because I'm choosing not to talk about it. Like, well, you need to deal with it first, and then maybe and learn to work through those issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Another big part is it's not accepting that, like, say you're addicted to porn or something.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a married man. It's not to say that it's okay for me to be that person, but recognizing that that is not the real you. That is not your purpose in life. But I forgive myself. Forgiving yourself can be one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
But it's necessary just like anybody else. Because condemnation, guilt will keep you in that trap.
Yeah.
Oh, the devil hates it when all of a sudden somebody goes, wait a minute, I'm not feeling guilty. I'm not going to feel condemned. I'm not okay with living like this, but I'm not going to condemn myself. I'm just going to be like, what? I'm going to lose control here. What do I do?
Yeah.
Just as long as you can feel condemned and fear and all that, he can control you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's
it does. Because you're not being your true authentic self.
Yeah.
Right? I mean you're being influenced whether you know it or not. That's the reality of it. I think I don't know. We could go on for hours. I feel like
next week we'll be done.
Next week. So stay tuned. And I do want to touch on the fact that you started a YouTube channel. How did you get into that space? Because I said I would bring that up in the beginning. So
yeah, I would just it was something that I really got into because I was looking at ways to make passive income.
Okay.
And weird. That's how it really started, and I found out that people make money on YouTube.
No way. So you're legitimately just searching for a way to make passive income, and you thought making YouTube videos is a good idea.
That's what came up in my research.
Wow.
Because I found that was 2017, and somewhere I read or seen that this girl that would make videos unboxing kids' toys. She was a young girl, 14-year-old girl, I think. And she just made videos unboxing kids' toys and show them. And I'm sure she had a lot of sponsors and stuff, but she made like 1.3 million or something in a year. If I remember the numbers correctly. And I thought, oh, so this is an opportunity. And so then I thought, well, what I do. And so I started, I see that people I would watch some videos of a guy that would play video games. And so I thought, maybe I'd do that. I like playing video games. And so did a little bit of that and nobody watching it. And one day, I'm at home. My brother-in-law's there at the house. I think we were living together. This was after we were married. And we're bored. And he's like, oh, he's been watching this guy that does a tow truck driver. And watching on YouTube. And so he goes home and watching him. And he's trying to pull a semi out of the ditch. Got his GoPro on himself. And all of a sudden, it clicked. 30 minutes in, like, we've been sitting here for 30 minutes watching this guy, and he's just working with his camera on. This is interesting. Because this was after I started hauling storage sheds.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I learned that you actually repost storage sheds. That's kind of what my main channel's about. And it clicked. And like, I bet people would like it. I bet it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And boom, there it was. So
that's awesome.
Let me grab my drink.
And I love watching your channel, by the way. It is very interesting. You do a great job with the videos, the editing,
thank you.
The also being authentic. You have a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things when I was like looking after we started the podcast, I was looking on YouTube and you guys your channel popped up and I started watching you. I'm like, this guy's got a great sense of humor. It's awesome. I love it.
Life's too short I mean, I've had my anger problems too, just to be honest. I still deal with it sometimes, but
but isn't that majority of guys that deal with that?
I think
anger.
So. I think so.
Like I recently had a guy on, and we had a pretty lengthy discussion about that, and Yeah, it's pretty interesting to me that I always thought it was just something I dealt with.
Oh yeah. Sure.
And then, I mean, I have said, like, I was very angry as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Like, that,
Yeah.
and I think it came from a lot of well, I know it came from a lot of the hurt
Yeah.
stuff that I've dealt with
Yeah.
since then. I'm a nice person now. But anyway, you wanna cut this for today and maybe we'll do it again here soon?
Hey, come to Ohio, man.
Okay.
Came all the way from Texas up here.
I did, just for today's podcast.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever go to Texas because, I mean, what's in Texas?
All your exes?
No. But you're not. You're not.
Yeah.
So, see, there's no reason to go to Texas.
Yeah. No, you definitely need to come to Texas now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you need to open your present.
Man, I am. I don't even know what to say.
It's kind of
Because,
boring.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I bet it is.
If you're bored, you'll like it.
Yeah. Sure, it's not. Sure, it's not. That's one thing that the Amish are very good at too, is being sarcastic, right?
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, wow. Look at that. We got a horse and buggy. The Amish Rebel Podcast. No way. I hope you guys can see that. There's writing in here. The Amish Rebel Podcast, and then there's 1 Peter 3:10 is on the front.
That's my favorite
Thank
verse.
you.
That's the back.
Or on the back, I mean. Yeah.
So I don't know.
So-
So it's an Amish man on there with a microphone. You didn't see the microphone, did you?
Not see the
Yeah.
microphone. That is awesome.
So it's an Amish rebel because he's got a mic going out Bucky doing a podcast while he's going down the road.
Dude, you're awesome. Thank you.
You
Thank
bet,
you
you're
for
welcome.
that. Man.
Just say, get out of here.
That is very, very thoughtful of you to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give you a gift.
Yeah.
You bet.
Man, all my other guests are gonna be like, where's my gift? Except what am I? I interviewed you on your in your studio, so technically you're a guest in your own studio.
Yeah, this is weird. Nice studio, by the way. I like the studio.
Thank you. We might just keep it.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in today. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, watching today's episode. Please head on over to Josh's channel, check him out, check his workout, and support them. And also like and comment this video if you found it helpful. Share it with some people around you. And we will see you in the next video.